Welcome to the Vision Profiles Podcast. Join us, three dedicated Apple Vision Pro users, as we dive into everything from hardware and software to apps and the latest updates in the world of Apple Vision Pro. I'm Marty, a faculty member at Kent State University, podcaster, and an avid, I need to change the wording on that, an avid Apple product fan.
And I'm Eric Bolton. I was so involved with your word change, I thought, oh yeah, you could really kind of... I work in IT. I'm easily distracted, but my interest is in finding interesting ways to share content, currently photography of plants and birds in panoramic sequences.
And I'm Daniel Burkholder, reading from a script that I am a software engineer and technologist interested in generative AI and mixed reality technologies.
I think the next time in show notes, I'm not going to put the script in, and we'll just stumble our way through it. But now on the audio or video podcast of this or vodcast of this, people know that I'm poorly reading from a script for the intro. So,
yeah, but you do that so that I don't get stuck, because when there's nothing in front of my eyes, there's a long pause and dead air.
And I put that semicolon there, and that means, Eric, wait about 5 or 6 seconds before you actually respond. That'll be the audio will shorten up the video. We can't shorten it up, so we'll have your natural pause experience. Daniel, how are you doing? What's new with you?
Oh, not terribly much. Just trying to think what I can talk about. Some stuff I can't talk about, but I don't know, just not much really been going on. I guess the only kind of fun thing is I took my partner for cataract surgery today.
Does he have the big bulky glasses now?
No, but it was really funny. So I did take my Vision Pro with me and was working the whole time in it. And every time somebody came out, and I swear they were herding people in like cattle. There was so many people. I mean, I think they batch and do all the surgeries on like one day, which makes sense. And the average age was old. But every time somebody came out with the big honking glasses, and I would look over them, and the first thought I was like, hey, we look the same.
Except they're not watching a movie or working.
They have better battery life, at least.
Yeah. Okay. Hey. So what news have we had this week? Just general stuff. Have you seen the bull riding video?
Yeah.
No.
Daniel hasn't seen it yet. Well, I hope to ruin it for you.
Good.
Eric, what'd you think?
Well, except for the hospital part, it was awesome. It was a little bit gruesome in that part. Oh, wait, no. That was a different video.
No, that was the weekend.
No, it was... Oh, I'm mixing the two together. That happens all the time. It wasn't... you know how each time they film this, they do it a little bit differently? They have once again filmed it just a little bit differently. I was really impressed with the part where I thought that whatever really expensive camera they were using was going to get smashed. That was kind of neat. There was a big wobble in that part because the bull hit the post.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Yeah. What other things that you noticed?
It is really, really hard to figure out where to put the camera if you're trying to film bull riding. And I have no idea how many hours they were given and how many different people, but it was hard because they were trying to focus on one person. And, they were making some assumptions, hoping for some things, and they would have needed to have like 2 or 3 events to get enough footage, I think. But, there was some background, and, we got to see stuff that, you don't normally get to see.
Yeah, I was underwhelmed by it completely. And I guess I'll start with some things that concerned me. I had read a review on it on Reddit beforehand, and not that it colored my approach to it, but they said the bulls look fuzzy. They don't look crisp and clear. And so I went in there looking for fuzzy bulls. And you got to be careful when you say that. And I was.
No.
There goes Eric with a facepalm. We got the first facepalm out of Eric.
Gotta watch our rating for iTunes.
Yeah. So I was, I didn't see as much of that. I mean, it did seem very textured. It almost seemed like I'd want to pet them because they were so soft and fluffy. But I didn't see the problems with the optics as much. I had some things that I saw during the video that was like, what is going on here? The one scene where they're shooting over the fence and you can see the silhouette of him. And then the shot, he gets up to get over the fence and his crotch or his butt, whatever it is, because it's a silhouette of it, is right in your face. And I'm like, why did they leave that in? There was no context.
I totally missed that part.
And then another scene in the locker room. Did you remember that scene where the guys are all standing around? Everybody's got shirts on except one guy who's like bare-chested. And my guess is he's very proud of his pecs and very proud of his body and shape because he's going to show it everywhere, even on an Apple immersive video. And then the other scene that just really bothered me. The wife has a toddler. They both have a toddler. The toddler's sitting off to the side. The baby is being held by the wife in the middle of a training ring where she's guiding at a full gallop this horse around while he's on the horse to try and get ready for, being steady and things like that and get used to the riding. But she's carrying the baby with her in a ring with an active horse running, and it's like, put the damn baby down, not in the ring.
But then you don't know where the kid's going to be, and you're going to get him. That's going to get run over. I was really happy to see that she was hanging out.
Get a car seat, put it outside the ring, and all's well. But it really looked like child endangerment to me. I don't know.
I was just happy she was hanging on to him. I thought, everybody gets to spend time together. The horse is nicely trained. It's not like she was in the ring with a bull.
I just thought it was weird. I just thought it was totally weird. She's in there and she's holding on to a rope that causes the horse to go in a circumference. And then she's got like a whip, or not a whip, but sort of a long stick with a paddle on it that's, I guess, supposed to encourage the horse to run in a circle faster. And she's turning round and round with the baby. I'm like, this is insane.
I thought it was kind of a nice family outing. Maybe it's like a rural versus city thing. I don't know. I thought it was nice they could spend some time together versus always being out on the road. And
yeah, I dropped my baby in the ring. That's
there was no dropping in the ring. That kid was being held.
I just thought it was weird, and it seemed like it was a piecemeal of a movie. And
it needed more time and more material.
Yeah. And then we spent a lot of time looking at the fireworks. It just seemed like everything was just cut up of pieces of the experience. And no cameras were attached to any bulls, which made it really disappointing for me. Because I wanted to experience the ability to throw up.
I don't think you could safely do that for the bulls, the riders, or for the people watching later. I think it would have been a 3-part nausea experience.
Yeah, but think of the immersion of that experience. This is what your head's looking at as you're bouncing around on a bull.
I don't want to have to wring my shirt out after watching a movie.
Yeah. Hey, so Daniel, you've heard us go on and on about this. Any reaction?
No, but I was thinking, if you put one of those cameras on the bull, like I was just thinking that actually wouldn't be very immersive. You'd need to put it on like a gimbal kind of jig to simulate what the human body naturally does to stabilize the head. But put the 3D camera on like a gimbal, that'd be pretty cool, actually. And that would be more like what it would really be like.
So you're saying that they need a new generation of mechanical bowls with a built-in gimbal so that you can have immersive viewing of yourself flying off in a bar after too many drinks.
Yes.
Okay. Other things, Apple TV interface changes for immersive content. Eric, you mentioned about that.
Yeah, I had kind of just popped in to see if there's anything new, and maybe I haven't been paying attention, but it's like there's big rectangular blocks, kind of like normally when you hit it, there's always whatever the featured item is, but this was all immersive stuff, and you can slide a tile over, and it was all the way across in the app. A big rectangular tile of whatever it is that are featured, and the next one and the next one from all of the different immersive content. And then as you got to the end and ran out of all of the new stuff in the short clips, then you got 3D movies. And when you look at and those were also on big tiles. So, and the one that came up as the first one in the list was the Godzilla and Kong movie. I only watched just a teeny bit of that. I might have to go back later. And then when you go and you look, the 3D movies are divided between really good ones and the complete list of 3D movies. So they kind of have categorized and favored a few. So I'll be interested if you go back and look, see if it seems to make a difference too.
Have you made it through you just said you saw a little bit of the Godzilla versus Kong. Daniel, have you looked at any of the new Godzilla series?
No, I'm not a Apple TV subscriber, unfortunately.
Oh. Well, yeah, but it's a series of movies. I don't think it was necessarily Apple TV.
Oh.
But
they have the series too.
Yeah. The series is really pretty good.
Yeah.
And what is it called? Somebody looked that up, or maybe Cletus knows. Cletus is in the chat room right now. So what is the series called? Anyways, the series, somebody told me to watch that. So I started watching the series, and it was pretty cool. I mean, it was a good series. And then they said, okay, now that you've watched the series and you see what this leads up to, the idea that there are these creatures that are in the earth that will emerge with it. And it follows that whole Japanese mythology around those animals or beings. And I watched the series, and it's like, I'm not a Godzilla guy. I mean, generally the ones I saw were in the 50s and 60s and kind of horrible stuff. But I started watching the Godzilla movies, looking at its release date, and saw all the different Godzilla movies in order. And it fit within that whole mythology. And of course, getting to watch them in 3D on the headset, I was surprised. I never expected that. Monarch, Cletus is saying, is the name of the series. I never thought I would be interested in that, and I'm waiting for the next season of Monarch to come out. There was one called Godzilla -0 or +0 that was actually done from Japanese point of view and from a Japanese director. Excellent film. And I guess you could start with any one of them at any time, but I just decided to watch them chronologically. And then Godzilla -1 or +1, whatever it is, came out, and I thought the reviews were really good on it. And I thought, let me see what this is about. It was really. So new layout for Apple TV when it comes to immersive experiences. So if you go in there, that's part of it. Just a reminder for people who are watching, you can follow the live stream like Cletus is doing, and we've got another person in there watching too. You can find the stream at youtube.com/@Vision Profiles on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch the video later if you don't on YouTube, or the audio on any podcatcher service. All of them will have the links in. The video will have the links in on YouTube, and the audio will also have the links in on the articles we're talking about. So no beta this week. Well, we still have tomorrow. It's Monday night. They generally release them on Tuesdays, or they have released them on Tuesdays, but no beta this week. Might change by tomorrow. We'll find out. Somebody was saying, when is beta 2.3.1 coming out? But news, I guess we'll start with our first news item. or a series of items. There's about 3 articles here on Apple and Sony's connection in terms of working on the controllers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts about this, guys? This is a Mac Rumors article.
The interesting part, I think, there's a couple interesting things about it. Unlike the Surreal Touch controllers, these are not self-tracked. The headset has to track them. So that makes a lot of sense that they would have to work together to the Vision Pro to detect and track the Sony controllers. I believe I read it has like infrared rings like around, like when you put your hands in it, and it has tracking lights around those rings as well. So the headset would need to be updated to track it, unlike the Surreal Touch, which they're kind of getting around that by the controllers track themselves. So then it can just pass through that data. But if Sony were to do it, like they were to work together and enable it, that would set a precedent for other controllers that are out there in the world to work together to have them tracked. Do we expect to ever see like Quest controllers working on the Vision Pro? Probably not, for obvious reasons. But that would open the door and be much simpler for more people to get in on making controllers, since they wouldn't have to develop their own inside-out tracking algorithms and do all that, or frankly have fans in the controllers, which is still wild to me, but I don't mind. And the other weird part about the Sony thing is apparently they don't sell the controllers separate. Even if you have a problem with one, you got to send the whole everything in. So they would need to loosen that up too and start selling them individually. But if they do it, I'm hyped.
Would you have to have a game server? Would you have to have a PlayStation to use these, or could you just buy the controllers, pair them with your Vision Pro headset? And
if it were to come to fruition, I think it would be similar to the Surreal Touch in the sense that you can just buy them and pair them and use your Vision Pro to, if there are any native games that support them, of course it'll work in that. There was some talk about maybe some native improvements to control the Vision OS interface with it, which could be nice for some people for more fine-tuned control. That's what I would expect, because I wouldn't expect it's like, hey, we buy a headset that you're never going to use just to get the controllers. that would be something. But yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything on this, Eric?
Not really. I'd have to start doing some gaming or something to.
Yeah, a couple of articles here. This other one from 9 to 5 Mac. All of this seems to be peeling off of information said by Mark Gurman on the Power On newsletter. But 9 to 5 Mac said they could be on Vision Pro later this year. So maybe some stuff to add to either a new version of Vision Pro, which the rumors are still out, or just kind of Christmas accessories, if you want to think of that. And then finally, it's a separate article in terms of Vision Pro. We'll talk about that next, I think. The Vision Pro feature that could change how you work. And it's basically... Spoiler.
It's environments.
Yeah. See, the thing is, if I was on a Bora Bora beach, I'd have to have a bunch of crap in front of me on a desk for me to actually have a work environment.
Well, the article really missed an opportunity, because what's come out after a year of people using these environments is that you put all the stuff you want to work on in front of you. Then you turn around and face the opposite way and turn your environment on. Then you turn back and look at your work. So effectively, you have the environment peripherally and behind you, but work in front. And then by cranking the immersive thing up and down a little bit, you can bring it way up on the sides or have it back a little ways. that's a much nicer way of working. Then it really is kind of like being at a cafe or on the edge of a beach or whatever. It's not distracting you by having too much goodness in front, but anytime you kind of glance to the side to kind of think a little bit, you get beach. And you remember why it is that this is so nice to be in your headset environment. But, whatever you're working on, or if you're working with somebody else, they're right there and they're not immersively popping up behind everything every time they twitch. So I find it a nice compromise.
Yeah, in the case of this, the picture in the article, you're alone on the moon, desolate, probably gasping for air.
Yeah. See, if you do it the other way around, that desolation is behind you, and there's a safe portal right in front, and you can always get up and leave the moon if you're running short of air.
This article sort of feels like a nothing burger.
Well, especially since they left out the put the immersion on behind you.
Yeah.
But to the article's credit, I do find the environments, even just putting the headset on, can just put me in a different mindset for doing some work. Not even using environments. So, I mean, there is something to that for sure.
Well, and the environments are also really nice if you have to take some screenshots and you don't want your messy office or something that's confidential to show up in the screenshots.
That's a good point.
Especially using it as a virtual display. It's just this kind of a nice background.
To be honest with you, I don't use environments a lot, if at all. Generally, I like, there's something about me is I want to have some pass through. I want to see what's going on in my environment. Generally, when I'm on my headset, nothing is going on in my environment. I'm downstairs on the couch. My wife's upstairs sleeping, and I'm just chilling out and looking at the front room drapes. But environments don't really do much for me. In fact, they probably distract me more than having the pass through. But that's me, and that's a preference. Let's talk a little bit, because we have 3 articles here about the Apple anniversary. And I'm real curious, and I probably heard these stories from you before, but when did you get yours or get your hands on it? What's it been like for you for a year? Any general comments that y'all want to talk about?
Hard to believe it's been a year. I still think it was probably the best tech purchase that I made last year. I hope to, as we go into 2025, I will continue to say that for 2025 as well, even though I didn't buy it in 2025. I would say actually my usage, I really didn't want to fall into the meme of getting the VR headset and then putting it on the shelf after 2 weeks. And I don't want to say I forced myself into it, but I really wanted to go for it. And I will say over the last couple or 6 weeks, 2 months-ish or so, my usage has decreased, but that's not because of the headset in and of itself. It's just because what I'm doing in terms of on computers generally lately, it's not that it's not suitable for a headset. It's just, well, frankly, what it is I've been playing World of Warcraft a lot. I got addicted to that again. But while I can do the game streaming into it, and the streamer client we talked about the other week, Moonlight, while it does have support for mouse and keyboard, there is something weird with mice in that, where just because of how it handles mouse input, and this is I can tell that this is a iPad OS thing as well. It, at least on the y-axis, it acts weird, so it makes I can't play the game. It gets really weird. But that's a hyper kind of niche thing, and it just means what I'm doing more so recently just isn't suitable for that, which is fine. That is what it is. But today it was sick to use it while at the doctor's office and having ultra wide screen and trying to look all the way over at the code and in such a way where the guy in the waiting room doesn't think I'm staring right at him. But the little social public awkwardness aside, I'm still loving it. I want to see a lot more. I don't want to say more reasons to put it on because I already have enough reasons. I don't know what I want to see more out of it in 2025. I should really think about that.
You have any?
What? It hasn't quite been a year for me yet because I didn't get it until a few months in, partly because I had to convince 2 other people to help out. But I guess I've been a lot less willing to share it with the other 2 people, which hasn't quite been a problem yet, but will be soon. What I've been doing with it has changed. I mean, there was more media consumption and just kind of trying out a bunch of different things. And there's some stuff that just didn't quite work as well as I wanted it. It's sort of the same problem I had if I tried to use my iPad as my only machine. Kind of I could make it work-ish, but there's some things where it just wasn't convenient, and the Vision Pro kind of had the same issues. As soon as I started using it as a virtual display, all of the places where it was weak, that fixed it. So, a Mac Mini plus the Apple Vision Pro, okay, it's not just one device, it's a couple and a phone. And my usage of my iPad went way down. And maybe that's seasonal, but I'm definitely using it more now and more for work-related things, not just recreation. But other people that I share with, it's a lot more recreation than work stuff.
Yeah. I got mine on day of release. There's a long story with that I've told before probably, but I got it on day of release. It was an expensive investment, but I'm not a all-in kind of person in the sense of I have to get all of it out right away. So I'm slow. I'm always slow in working through something. And so every time I put it on, there was something new to learn. Nor was I had expectations. This has got to be a productivity device, and Eric, the great part about what you bring to the show is that you really kind of focus on the photography and the productivity piece, which is not as big a thing for me. So, you add that piece in, but for me, it's kind of a slow drip of new things every week, or a new app, or a new piece of entertainment that I want to see on it. And then this show, of course, just heightens my doing this every week, researching it, coming up with articles that are out there about it, just heightens my interest in the device. So it kind of keeps me going with it. So I'm there's a lot I have to still learn about it, but I really enjoy it. And I'm the kind of person that this kind of thing could wind up on the shelf, never being touched, because I have a whole closet of those things. And, I'm glad that whatever's motivating me to stay with it, whether it's the show or I'm always learning some new little things to do with it, or I'm just enjoying the entertainment aspect of it, keeps me going. The articles that we have, 3 articles, I find it interesting because all of them 2 of them were from Applelnsider. One of them's from 9 to 5 Mac. And again, these will be posted in the show notes for folks who want to see it. These media outlets flip-flop more than a flounder trying to find air. They just every month they come up with Vision Pro bad, or then it's like Vision Pro, it's the technology of the year, and it's sort of like, guys, you realize that after researching this every week. Now, many people don't spend as much time in this media looking at it. They'll catch the article that says either the good or the bad, and that's what they'll walk away with from the device, and that's what their belief around the advice. But when you see them flip-flop so much on what the device is and what it means to them, it makes it you become more suspect about what they're doing in terms of that. But we have 3 articles up there. The last one, Apple Vision Pro review 1 year later, time to exit the preview, is a pretty extensive article, and it goes through just a lot of aspects of it. The design, and slow and steady. But they're saying basically now we've had it long enough. It's time for us to get back to really developing for this. Last week we covered some articles on developers beginning to embrace developing games and apps on Vision Pro, specifically for Vision Pro, and that was optimistic. So I'm holding an optimistic future. If another version of this comes out, I'll probably seriously consider getting it because I'm that fascinated with the technology. It's like the Meta. I mean, I have a Meta 3, and then I bought a Meta, what is it, SE or Meta E, or I forget what the version is, with a little bit lower resolution, $100 cheaper, just to find out what the differences are between the two devices. So I would be interested in this. I don't think you'll find me ever purchasing a Samsung headset, although we have an article on that for tonight's show, only because I'm not in that environment. I mean, with Meta, I don't have to be in any environment because it's all there. It's not meant to connect with a user platform per se. But with Samsung, there's that direct need to connect with Android devices or Google devices and Android essentially. And I'm not in that ecosystem whatsoever. So I'll be fascinated by it, but I would never get one just to check it out. Because it lead me down the same path as a lot of other Samsung devices, where it winds up on the shelf, or I sell it, a couple of months later. So that's about that, and sort of the 1 year reviews. Any other comments on that from the group?
I have to say, each month I still find. How does it put? I still find something that sparks joy in each month. Sometimes it's some little thing. Sometimes it's just, it still works. Sometimes it's going back and looking at media again or kind of rediscovering something I already discovered. Sometimes it's just getting work done and having it work out conveniently in a large display. So I haven't gotten tired of it. It hasn't been a work to find something new. And I see that as a good sign. I'm kind of on the edge for, would I be willing to buy a second one of these? It's like, maybe. If there's a new version, I would go with it. Go for that without question.
This next article I struggle with. And it is a 9to5 Mac article, and it's why Apple Vision Pro's $3,500 price, nobody knew that before this article, I guess, is actually a selling point. And this is kind of a goulash of information. They talk about the surgeons at the UC San Diego Health Center have used the headset. 300 attendees, and we have an article on that somewhere in here, about 300 attendees exploring the Vision Pro's potential for surgery, medical education, and beyond. And then it jumps around and it talks about, how it can be used in the operating room. And then it goes into the M2 chip and the R1, and it just really kind of says back to the Apple Vision Pro's $3,500 price. In the piece, Susan Prescott provides a particularly interesting remark about the cost. So version 1 product, the price for now is what the price is. That's her comment. That informs us so much.
Go ahead.
Well, I was say I don't want to say I've convinced myself. I think there's a real argument that if you are someone who has a use case or wants to use it, wants to make it work, I can get into the position of the mindset that it is a value with respect to all the things that if I wanted a similar experience, but in the real world, right? Like just to have a TV of equivalent quality, I am at that price or above. Now, to be fair, it's there's a lot more to a TV, and then you can have other people do it, but it's not portable, right? Like, they're different use cases, different times. Like the people doing surgery, right? $3,500 is definitely cheaper than a $20K for those screens, and it's more ergonomic for them, which is better for them, perform better, etc. Valid bargain in their mind. That I would argue is like a way that it is like, who cares if it's $3,500, because all the things that you're replacing with is definitely more than $3,500. I think the price only becomes a problem when you're comparing it to all the other products, which, to be fair, do get you 80% of the way there, but it's not all the way there. And oh, wow, actually, it's funny. It's the 80-20 rule. It's the 80-20 rule so hard. Yeah, because gets you 80% of the way there, but that 20%, that other $3,200 is just in that 20% compared to like a Quest or something.
Yeah. Susan Prescott in that article says the other thing that it does well is it makes adjustments for motion. So whereas people can get nauseous with other headsets, you don't want your surgeon getting dizzy in the middle of surgery. So when it's used as a adjunctive device, you don't have to worry about sort of the motion issues that could occur with it. I didn't realize these articles were so connected, or that one article was so connected to this. So I'm going to jump ahead and we'll go back to the stuff. But this is an article, the one that was mentioned about 300 doctors. 300 doctors attend a summit on Apple Vision Pro's application surgery. And it's the Sharp Healthcare Summit that they had. They had, in another article, they said they had 300 doctors from 10 different countries, but they purchased 30 Apple Vision Pros and started a spatial computing center of excellence, because you don't want a spatial computing center of mediocrity. In February.
In that article, there's also that, I think Chuck mentioned it too, the report from Fast Company that's a link to another article that kind of expands on what they're doing.
Yeah, you're referring to Fast Company. You're referring to Chuck Joyner, because he talked about the Fast Company article.
And that link is in this article. Yeah.
So, enables 300 doctors from 10 countries around the world to share how they've implemented Vision Pro for their workflows.
That's actually really cool. I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall in some of those. That's actually what they need to do for we probably will see. Like when Apple just talks about it next, a next big event, they probably will have a bunch of doctors or surgeons and other people being interviewed for use cases.
And this is another article. Vision Pro keeps making healthcare cut for surgery and other uses. And this is in Call to Mac, and it basically covers the same issues around the summit. The Spatial Computing Center for Excellence, or the SPCCE. But we know University of California, San Diego, from previous articles, had been playing with this stuff. And of course, they have to say Tim Cook says it's too expensive. It's an early adopter. Monitors can cost up to $20,000.
Well, and the other point they keep making is, if you have a surgeon who's injured and can't do surgery, that costs a whole lot more than $3,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ergonomics are really, really nice. I mean, even no more of this looking down at a laptop. Now, to be fair, I have to hold big, heavy headset up on head, but I have an easier time with that than having to look down at laptop. And then I can't imagine not the rubberneck. Well, I guess you could call it rubbernecking. What they're, looking down at what they're doing at their instruments and looking up at the screen, down, screen, down, screen, down, screen. Delete that. That'd be huge.
Okay, so the big article, or big sets of articles that came out this week, were with regard to Apple discontinuing their Mac connected augmented reality glasses project. And this was a leak from, I forget where the leak. When I first heard about this, I heard it at the beginning of last week, right after our show. That's when the article started coming out. And it was sort of, well, someone from the inside whose name had to be, protected, and in the name of anonymity, wanted to say that they're shutting down the glasses, and that would fit with Team Gorman. Or Gurman, and not Team Ming Chi Kuo, who said they're going to have glasses out this year. What's your thoughts about this? And as you talk, maybe I'll page through some of these. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 articles just on this topic.
I thought it was really weird because unless I missed something, I didn't even know that a Mac connected glasses were like on the table. Because personally, that sounds like an awful idea. Like we want the little puck, and we want to go around. We want a portable device, right? Like the Vision Pro is already. It's not that it's not portable, but it's already not portable enough, right? Like to me, they're kind of like completely different. They're not different product categories, but they kind of are in my mind. I would never have expected a Mac compute unit. Like, I mean, that's what we already have.
Yeah.
I like as far as I expect to see, and we'll get into some later articles about a lot of AR glasses shown at CES. A lot of what we saw there is really what I expect to see more. Like that to me is like what we might see in an Apple glasses, with a kind of like a compute puck, or the phone with just enough functionality that I don't see why the phone wouldn't be able to do it. Is it like, and it's not going to be Vision Pro level of experience, but like, normal everyday apps, like Apple Watch tier apps, that
Right.
in a glasses form factor, totally I can see that, but not like a portable Mac level. So I hope this is true in the end.
Yeah, I think it's too complicated to try to have glasses and explain what the differences might be. There's too many people thinking, well, there's the Apple Vision Pro, and pretty soon they're going to shrink it down and you'll have glasses, but you'll get the same experience you get with the Apple Vision Pro. And I don't think that was ever really intended, and I'm not sure it's possible. So if nothing else, removing it for a while, I think, will reduce confusion. Let everybody else come out with it, kind of like what Apple always does. Have 20, 30 vendors with a glasses type product. Let them try things for 3 or 4 years, and then if something's reasonable, turn around and try something new. But right now, I think that they're better off focusing on the Vision Pro and successor products.
And I think by the time the display tech gets up to a sufficient level that they could actually do a glasses product, that with a screen that they would want to deliver like near Vision Pro quality or equal, by that time, then we will have like, because one of the reasons was like iPhone would not have enough compute power, but by that time the display tech's up there. Yeah, the iPhone's going to have enough compute power.
Yeah, frankly, I'm surprised that they were even talking about a Mac connected set of glasses. It just seems weird that you would sit there tethered to some device. I'm an owner, or still, I guess I still am an owner. I can't use them of Google Glass. And Google Glass was simply an app on your phone that you would Bluetooth to your headset, and what you got was one eye with a screen giving you information that you could tap on, and it was basic information. It was messaging, it was notification of emails, and it was the functionality that I would want out of a set of glasses, AR glass or VR glasses, I guess. I want some computing on it. I want to see it, but I'm not going to do spreadsheets. I'm not going to edit video with them. In some ways, I could really give a damn if I could take pictures with them, because I have a phone to do that, and that's always with me, or video. So I mean, give me a full screen lens on a glass that performs like Google Glass did, and I'll be perfectly happy. And that would be, I would think, what I'd want out of a set of Apple glasses, if you want to call that. The idea of having to tether it to something just seems a little weird in terms of how much functionality do I want on a glass? Do I want to watch a movie on my glasses? I'm not sure I want to watch a movie on my glasses. I want to watch it on a headset, whether it's a Meta or an Apple Vision Pro or an Apple Vision, if they come out with one like that. And if you look at some that are coming out, and I've listened to some shows where they talk about them, they basically take movies, give notifications, and look kind of dorky. Like I like Elvis Costello as an artist, but kind of look like big old what they call them, National Institute of Health glasses that they used to give to people in England who got their glasses through the National Institute of Health, the big clunky frames. No offense to the National Institute of Health or people of England, but that's how some of these have been described. So
no, I think I want to see Apple Watch on face, right? And my one-liner sentence for Vision Pro is it's infinite iPads everywhere. So then an Apple Glass, I want Apple Watch on face. And I think that's really acceptable and really attainable. I mean, we'll get into some of the CES stuff. That's attainable in the next today, nearly. So,
do you want them tethered or untethered?
Oh, they got to be untethered, 100%. Yeah. And if I was going to be tethered, I'd want to hold. If I have to be stuck, I might as well just have the whole thing, the whole headset on.
Let's see. Wow. The chat room is going kind of. It's fun because Gern is in here now. Came in a little bit late. Cletus is in there. Gern says, "Hi guys, I missed the whole show. LOL." But Cletus is like, lots of articles. There are lots of articles that you'll be able to look at with that. So thanks to the chat room for keeping things going. I don't know if there's much that I can do to show you some of this. And the ones I like are funny because it's like, those aren't functional glasses. Those are somebody's sunglasses. But this essentially all came out of Mark Gurman. They're riffing off an article by Mark Gurman in Bloomberg talking about this stuff. So what are you looking for? I said what I was looking for, and I think you might have said what you were looking for in glasses. Daniel, more kind of watch what you get on your watch, but in your field of vision.
Yeah, Apple Watch on face. Give me camera. Give me audio pods. Yeah. I'll pretty much put all that on my face, which would be pretty convenient. Another justification for not working on glasses that are tethered too is like I've been thinking about a lot of how are people who don't need to wear glasses going to receive these products, right? For all of us, at least in the three of us here, anything is an improvement. Anything is additional functionality is great because we're forced to wear these things anyway. But I don't know if that would ever be enough for somebody to be like, yeah, I'm going to put on my tethered glasses to have, not to mention what it costs and all that. And
and frankly, if I don't need glasses, I can look at my phone or I can look at my watch. I wear glasses for reading and up close work. I'm not wearing them when I'm walking down the street. So it would be a leap for me to wear glass. Well, it wouldn't be that much of a leap because I'm used to wearing them, but still, I have my watch and I have my phone with me. So if I'm getting the same content off of notifications on either one of those, glasses just seem like an additional thing. They would have to have transition lenses. That would be something I'd like to have. Yeah. Because that's just, I don't like to wear glasses unless they're sunglasses in sunny situations. So most of my glasses are transition anyways. But we're going to switch gears a little bit. Daniel, I hope you've got some good news on this stuff. Apple Vision Pro now offers 2,000 games via NVIDIA GeForce Now support.
Rest in peace, Google Stadia. I'm happy to see game streaming still alive somewhere. I was actually a real big fan of Google Stadia, but of course, classic Google fashion, it got shut down. I haven't I haven't personally used GeForce Now, but I do see a lot of talk around it. It does seem well. I just don't have I don't have a use case nowadays to do it. Before, when I did use Stadia and doing game streaming, I didn't have like a decent video card or whatever. So that was my way to play like Cyberpunk 2077, right? Which was actually really crazy. I could play that, 4K HDR over the internet, and it felt fine. And with an actual lower time input to frame draw on my screen, lower than what was about average of what it would be like on if I was rendering it natively. So game streaming, very cool. Big fan of it. I should actually give this a shot, just to Vision Pro aside, just to like see how good GeForce Now is. And I was skimming the games. God, there's a lot of them. But yeah.
Can you remember a few to name, just to see if that fires any neurons in my head?
I think I saw like every Assassin's Creed game in there. I was actually specifically looking for Cyberpunk 2077. Why? I don't know, because I've already played it, but
I think the last game I played was Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh, we are throwing back. That's a big throwback.
And I was a young kid then, and it was like, yeah, let's see what this computer can really do. So this is exciting for gamers that there's another option.
Yeah, I think
this is basically running. It's running through a browser, though. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think people had been doing GeForce Now using, I think, the app Lens. Mm-hmm. There's a couple apps that like tout like, oh, we can do it. I don't know if there is what I'm trying to find out if there's actually a native app. That's what I'm trying to find out. No, go to your browser and your Vision Pro and go to Play. So it's still all in the browser, which fine. I'd like to see a native app, but they would probably just open it up. Safari window and that, but still.
Well, Gurn loves GeForce Now, he says in the chat room, but they don't have my go-to game, Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Oh yeah.
And I crashed enough planes on that to where it was. I tried to do takeoff, and it wound up, nose diving all the time with it. But I'm curious. I think it's fascinating. And that was using direction arrows on your keyboard to be able to do stuff with it versus any kind of joystick or anything like that. So, yeah, if things, if there are games that things blow up on, or I can crash things into it, then I'm in.
That's most games.
Yeah. So let's talk about the MKB HD hands-on with Project Muhan. So Marquise Brownlee, who gets to play with all the good toys first, has been allowed to kind of lay his hands on the Samsung Android XR.
I was pretty impressed with what he showed. I kind of wouldn't mind getting one when it comes out. It's going to depend how much it is. If I want to get one just to see kind of deal. But God, I could not help but think of, wow, this is all looks like the Vision Pro. I mean, we're fully going into Android versus iPhone again, which fine. I mean, it was probably always inevitable. But some takeaways, I thought it was nice to see how they did some like AI integration, like circle to search in AR. That was really cool to see. Like, I mean, is it that much more impressive than circle to search in a photo? But you could envision with 3D data perhaps enhancing the search in the future. Yeah, really, how much Samsung copied the menu interface. They really did. I mean, actually, all these other headsets, well, not the Quest, no, they didn't. But all these new Android ones really have copied Apple with the little grab the little handle to move the window around.
Yep.
It's like, wonder where they got these ideas. So to be fair, they've been around, but still, I actually liked the touch on the side. That was neat. And it seems like they took in terms of facial interface, they took every idea that was improved upon on the Vision Pro and did it on there, right? Like it basically looks like, hey, we put an Ana Pro on it and we removed the bottom half of the light seal so you get more of that peripheral vision, but still has the seal, the shade on top, so the light's not coming down in on you. That's one thing I don't like about the Ana Pro and whatever. I want to like make a little hat, little brim for it to block the light coming down. But I want to get one. But if it's gonna be like $2,000, I don't think that's enough. That's a little more than I would do to just play around with it.
I think it's going to be closer to $2,500, maybe even $3,000. The pricing on it, from what they say, is because it's going to get the high end Android folks who want in on it. I'll tell you something. I'm looking at the still shot, and I'll switch to it. That screen face scares me.
Yeah,
I'd rather have the googly eyes. It looks
people who are like, let's get rid of eyesight. Look at that. Yeah. Do you want that?
Yeah, it looks. I feel like I'm looking at a spider. The eyes on a spider. It just seems so weird. I love the comment that somebody had in the comments. What's an MKBHD? And Marquise Brownlee.
A speeding ticket?
Yeah. Then somebody said, it's the guy that drove a fancy car over twice the speed limit through a school zone.
He's not going to live that one down for a long time.
No. And for me, his reviews are sometimes really clickbait. And of course, that's what he makes his money off of. So there were a couple of guys that used to watch him religiously and got me to watch him. And I would look at new releases of stuff that would come out. And the bloom is off the rose for me with him. That's just me. So
no, I'm there with you.
Although I have to say, I didn't mind him running through the stuff. He kind of waited till near the end to point out, oh, well, this is not a released product. It's a prototype. So I talked about a whole pile of stuff that may or may not ever be seen in this same fashion. So it seems early to review it. But just to kind of get a look at it, maybe. I can't remember because I watched this right after it came out. Was there anything in that would let you get a virtual screen?
Yes, I believe they showed it on a Mac specifically.
Yeah, because that's really potentially where I could see some headsets and maybe even some glasses at some point, is basically being able to carry around a display to connect to things.
Yeah, and all these other headsets coming out and doing like laptops virtual screens, one thing I don't ever see them talk about is like how they're connecting. And I hope a lot of them are taking the approach that Apple did on the Vision Pro with the ad hoc Wi-Fi network. Because like today, I didn't have Wi-Fi where I was using it, but I was still doing virtual display. That's like to me, to do virtual display, that's key for this kind of portable headset device. And if it's not like that, that's a hard no for me then. Like, and I don't know how you do that. I mean, I know how you do it. Like Apple has the advantage that they control their whole software stack on both sides of the coin. Now we're going to get Macs, we're going to get all these other Lenovo, HP, whatever, who knows? Maybe they can't do an ad hoc Wi-Fi fast enough. I mean, it's like 300 megabits a second you need for Mac Virtual Display. That's pretty crazy. I mean, that's not unheard of, obviously, but are you going to expect the $500 laptop at Best Buy to be able to have that?
So let's go to the last article, and I'm tempted to go to the article, and then I'm tempted not to because I've been running it, and every 5 seconds I'm getting a McDonald's ad pop up on it. So Yeah, there it goes again. Don't you know? I've seen you and I don't want to see you again. Okay, so let's take a look at this. CES 2025. Link will be in the show notes. You can watch it and also watch as many McDonald's ads as you like. But here's the deal. 8 most advanced smart glasses we tried and were impressed by. So there's McDonald's.
Jeez.
Yeah. The X-Real 1 Pro in-air glasses. I don't know if you guys can pull this up on your screen, and then we can comment on about it without the McDonald's ads. But we'll go back to the group. I just look at this and go, I've got 2 sets of glasses in front of me, the Meta Ray bands and the Amazon Echo glasses or the Echo glasses. I don't wear them. And, the Ray-Bans supposedly have transition. I thought that would be cool to have. I just don't wear them. And people are like, these are so cool. And I'm like, I don't want to take video. And the Meta Ray-Bans are not so good with information. The Echo is actually better when I ask for information and getting information than the Meta Ray-Bans are. So the functionality of them just is so limited for me. It's like, well, I don't know. Were any of these that you might have seen really would convince you to get them?
I have had my finger hovering over the buy now button for the X-Real 1 Pro a couple times. It seems promising to me. And that is one I would like to see an Apple version of. From what I've seen of it, that really does seem like, hey, it's a good virtual display. There's very minimal compute, which is fine if you're using it as just, I'm using this as virtual screens. I don't need a ton of compute necessarily. I just need to be able to hook it up to the computer. And that seems like what that actually will be able to deliver, as opposed to their earlier ones where like the display just followed you, but now it's like actually like going to be mapped to the room and stay in position just like in the Vision Pro. And I think when I priced it out, I think I was like maybe at like $650 or so, which and I don't know about prescription, but
so are these for sale now?
I think you can pre-order them. I think it'll be, last time I checked, I think it'll be sometime later this year. Or I could be mistaken on that. But out of them, that seemed promising to me. Who knows if I'll get them or not. I want to. I have a friend who's interested in them, so maybe if he gets them, I'll get to try them. But
yeah, so the first one on the list was the one that you were attracted to. And I don't know if these are written in sort of order of wowness. This doesn't indicate. Yeah. They just listed off 8 of them.
The number 2, the in-air glasses. This isn't the first time I've seen something like this before. It's like just like a laptop bottom half and then a top foldy part to put glasses in. And I believe these are tethered to it as well. And this isn't the first time I've seen them. Like I remember seeing a product like this at CES is like, maybe even like 10 years ago. Glad it's still around, and apparently no one still wants it. I mean, like that is kind of really weird to me. It's like, why don't you just use your laptop you already got? I'm not going to buy a whole new laptop, and have my glasses tethered to my keyboard.
Yeah, the RoKit AR Spatial are available now for $648. That's number 3. Halliday AI doesn't really say much about what it does.
But it's got AI, and that's all that matters.
Actually, it has 2 eyes, not just AI.
Oh.
It has a left and a right.
No.
Gern made some comments about MKBHD, his paid wallpaper app where you could buy a wallpaper. I don't know. It was the jump sharp moment for him. But yeah, so
that wasn't good timing for him.
And I've heard of these Lomos. Actually, I think where did I hear about them? I heard them on Allison Sheridan's show, where she interviewed the guy who does these AI glasses. That's because I then went to search for them. They're number 6 on the list. For those who want to look at the article, can shoot up to 4K photos and 1080p videos for up to 5 minutes. They're lightweight at 49 grams. Company's also made a 6,500 milliamp shoulder power pack in case you want to shoot more. Supports prescription lenses and magnetic shades. The price starts at $299. Meta with better cameras is one way to look at it. And then Rokid glasses, Ray-Ban Meta-like footage. Interesting article. It's from ZDNet with that. So we're running long tonight. So let's go ahead and jump to the apps. And this first one is, where is it? It went away. Oh, there it is. Touch Desk. Which one of you put this? Was it Eric? Yeah.
This was just fun. I guess I always enjoy those restaurants you go to where it's like butcher paper across the table and a set of crayons so you can color and do whatever. But this lets you do that with any table. It just puts a layer and you take your fingers and you can draw stuff. And I'm a big fan of, while I'm talking or going over things, being able to scribble. I mean, there's a downside that nobody else can see what you're drawing. But I enjoyed it.
That's not a downside in the case of my drawing. Here's my favorite line here. Have you ever doodled on a desk as a child? Yeah, I did. And the teacher made me go to the back of the room and do punishment homework and clean it off. So
see, that's why I learned to just sharpen a pencil, and I just draw on my desk with a pencil. And they argued, and then you just take a damn cloth and wipe it off and call it close enough.
Yeah, and the photos in here show an absolutely pristine desktop.
Yeah, and it does not need to be pristine because you can actually stick the layer just a little bit above the table and then still draw on the desk, and it works just fine. So a messy desk still works.
Does it?
And
it doesn't
I
have
was
to
doing
be,
it.
Oh, go ahead.
I was doing it on a wood table with texture, and that was just fine.
Does it have to be? So it works on a wood grain table. It doesn't have to be like a whiteboard, or as they show in the video, a very clean table. Obviously, I think it probably makes it easier to see in terms of it. But
yeah, some of the contrast is better if there's a white surface.
Yeah.
But, you can have one sheet of paper and then you could do all that drawing and it's still a clean sheet of paper when you're done. Plus, it's easy to save the image if you get something that you really need to, keep track of for later.
So do you remember a couple months ago when there was some mild chatter about Apple Pencil support in the Vision Pro?
Yeah.
This is what I envisioned. I want this, but with Apple Pencil support. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, I need something pointier than my finger. Okay, that looks very cool. Cost? Oh, in-app purchases. Let's see what the...
And it was on sale, so it was cheaper right now. Can't remember what it was.
$6.99 annual, 10 lifetime. Okay, yeah. I can get behind that.
Drop $10 for the lifetime.
Yeah, I might get this actually.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. We're going to go to the next one, which is...
I think that was my fault.
Oh, okay. So
I wanted to play with a puzzle. So basically, you launch the app, and there's a list of artists or locations or museums or whatever, and you click on it, and then it gives you a set of possible pictures.
And the app is?
Masterpiece.
Masterpiece. Okay.
It's a puzzle.
Yeah, I think I had it somewhere back here. Once you sent the link in, I took it out of the app. And let me see if I can get it in the App Store up. But go ahead, keep talking.
So I had one moment where my headset was a little loose and it gave me an error saying it's too far away from the screen, and then there was nothing displayed in the app. But I only got that once, and I wasn't able to ever reproduce it. So maybe it was some odd fluke. But it seemed to work. You can pick up a piece, you drop it on the puzzle. For me, because I have a hard time with color anyway, I found that the pieces weren't always, it wasn't really obvious where I had put pieces already. But if you put it in the wrong spot, that's really obvious, and you can pick it up and move it. You don't have to like put it back and then bring it back. So, it's the Apple Arcade apps. I use them when I'm stuck someplace and I just need to kill some time. So Solitaire or this puzzle app seem to do the trick. So for the I just need to keep myself occupied for a few minutes, that worked well.
So if I have Apple One, which includes Arcade, I should be able to pick this up for free.
Yes. Yeah.
That's cool. And it's on multiple platforms. So it's on, you can see Mac, iPhone, iPad, Apple Vision, and Apple TV. And they don't talk about in-app, they don't talk about purchasing.
Well, if it's Apple Arcade, there shouldn't be any purchasing.
Yeah. So it's part of the Apple Arcade setup. Okay, cool. So we'll have all of these links that I've mentioned into the show notes. It's going to take a lot of work on me to get them in the show notes because there's so many links. But you'll find them there either in the video or show notes or in the podcast show notes. And podcast will probably be out before midnight tonight in about 90 minutes. And you'll see the video up on YouTube tomorrow morning because I have to process it through the night to get it up. Anything else to share, guys? Daniel? Eric?
No, we covered a lot.
Yep. Thanks to our friends in the chat room. I'm looking over to see if they've got some new stuff. Gern is in there. Cletus is in there. We had Chuck in there for a while from Mac Voices, and it's just good to have people in the chat room, particularly when even if they're not engaged with us, they're engaged with each other because it's fun to watch them be brought together with the show. So thanks for tuning in. We'd love to hear from our listeners. If you have ideas or want to join an episode, email us at visionprofilespodcast@gmail.com. Our bumper music is Free Jazzy by Steve Combs, courtesy of the Free Music Archive. You can learn more about this show and other shows simply by going to the website, thepodtalk.net. The podtalk, all one word, .net. Spread the word to other visionaries. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.